Hello, this is The Fight Guy. I'm your host, Guy. UFC 315 just wrapped up not even 30 minutes ago. I'm here to break down the entire card. It's fresh off the top of my head. It was full of upsets, surprises, underdog wins. We have a new UFC welterweight champion, and it's not Belal Muhammad, thank God. What does that mean for International Fight Week? What does that mean for the short-term and long-term future of the UFC? Let's talk about it. Let's break it all down. This is episode 32 of The Fight Guy. We're going to break down this entire card, starting with the very first fight on the prelims. This entire card was stacked. Even this very first fight on the prelims, I knew it was going to be a fantastic card. It set the pace. We had Brad Katona versus Bekzat Almakhan. I had Bekzat to win via decision. Did not see him knocking Brad Katona out a minute into that fight. Not much to break down about this fight. Brad Katona, he looked uncomfortable on the feet. I couldn't quite describe it. He looked stale. He couldn't quite get his grappling mixed into his striking. I know it would have taken longer than 1 minute to develop, but you saw it here. Bekzat sat Brad Katona down after a minute in the first round, got the finish via TKO, punches. Great win for Bekzat. He is going to be a problem for the bantamweight division. I really like this guy. He is exciting. He looks for the finish. He can grapple. He can strike. He does it all. Brad Katona losing first fight on the prelims in his home country of Canada after just getting back in the UFC after the last Ultimate Fighter season or 2 seasons ago. It's probably a career for Brad Katona. Great fight for Bekzat. We had that one right. We did really good on the picks this card. We move on to the next fight on the prelims. Daniel Santos versus Zhang Yongli. We had Daniel Santos to win this fight, and we were right again. I thought Daniel Santos has looked a lot better in his recent fights. He mixes the takedown attempts with the strikes flawlessly. He's really good at that. And Zhang Yongli was really good at the strikes. He held his own. He sat in the pocket. He ate a lot of hard shots. Daniel Santos ate a lot of hard shots himself, except Lee just didn't mix in any grappling threat. And the longer that the fight went on, Daniel Santos just had that grappling in his back pocket where he would mix it in after strikes, level changes, and it would throw Zhang off. It was enough for him to get a decision win. I had him winning 29-28, but the judging was weird tonight. They were off. There were 2 robberies. We lost Jose Aldo because of bad judges. I'll get to it when I get to it, but this was the first example when I thought, okay, the judges tonight are going to be weird. Because I thought Zhang Li did win at least the first round, I think. It was the first round. I'd have to rewatch it, but 30-27, it was a weird decision. Daniel Santos got it done via decision. We move on to the last fight on the early prelims. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. This was an exciting fight, man. I was on live through this entire fight card. It was a lot of fun, and I reacted crazy to this fight. Mark got a first-round knockout just about a minute 30 into the first round. Bruno Silva, who's never been knocked out before, handed him his first knockout loss. He's now 23-13. The guy's knocked out 20 people, never been knocked out before. That was a statement for Marc-Andre Barriault. He was a bit emotional after that win. Needed. Probably saved his UFC contract. I don't know if they would have kept him if he would have lost that fight. We went 3 for 3 on the early prelim picks with one underdog hitting Daniel Santos. We move on. First fight of the regular prelims, 4th fight on the card. We had Navajo Stirling versus Aiemann Erslan. This was a fun fight. I thought the judges had it right here. 29-28 was the right decision. Navajo Stirling looked really good. All right, he was a little bit uncomfortable at first because he couldn't get his kicks going. All right, he relies on landing a kick and then following it up with a combination. Couldn't quite land the kicks in the first round, but as the fight went on, he found a lot of success, landed a lot of power punches. Stirling started a little bit slow, like I said. He looked uncomfortable trying to settle into his kicking range, but after the second round, a lot of questions were answered about Stirling. Boy, can he grapple, he can scramble, he faces adversity, he makes adjustments mid-fight, which is the biggest thing you don't see a lot of prospects do. This kid is going to be special in the light heavyweight division. Great win for him when undefeated fighters this year have not been doing well. Navajo Stirling holds strong, 7-0. Great decision win. He looked dominant over Erslan, landing 2 punches for every 1 punch that Erslan landed. Great win for Stirling. We were 4 for 4 so far on the card. This is when things got squirrely. This is when things started to get squirrely. Modestas Bukauskas versus Aiemann Zahabi. This was the 5th fight on the card, 2nd fight on the regular prelims. This was a fun fight. Not a lot of big combinations were thrown this fight. You'd see both guys, and don't get me wrong, they were throwing power. It's just both guys respected each other's power enough to not throw more than 2 or 3 punch combinations. They would get in, land their shots, get out. Heavy shots. But not a lot of big combinations thrown by either fighter, just big power shots, 1 to 2 at a time. I thought Cutelaba won that fight. This was a robbery in my book. The judges were all over the place. I did not see Aiemann Zahabi winning all 3 rounds. I thought he lost the 3rd round. But the first 2 rounds, I thought Cutelaba had done enough to secure a 20-19 victory. I thought he won the first 2 rounds. It was tough to watch. It was tough to watch. The judges were all over the place. They gave a 30-27 to Cutelaba, 30-27 to Bukauskas, and then a 29-28 to Bukauskas. And they gave him the 1st and 2nd round. It was all over the place. I thought Cutelaba had won this fight. You could see the strikes. He landed 121 to Bukauskas' 52 strikes. I don't know. This was a bad decision. I still think Cutelaba won this fight, but this was my first pick that I had wrong on the card, and it brought up some bad juju, but we got this next fight right. Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. This was a pretty easy fight to call. Most people I saw went with Jasmine. Only a couple people picking Jessica Andrade. Jasmine looked amazing. This was a good old-fashioned ass beating from Jasudavicius. She takes Andrade down early, lands dozens of strikes off of her back, and then submitted her with a rear naked choke halfway through the 1st round. She looked real good, man. Andrade, she did not look good physically. She didn't look good in this fight at all. You could see she only landed 4 strikes. She looked too fat. I'll say it. I'm not a guy to call women fat. All right? You shouldn't call women fat. You should respect women. But Jessica Andrade was a little fatty. She looked a little tubby last night. I don't know if that played a role into it. I think Jasmine was going to take care of business either way. I didn't see her getting a finish in round 1, but getting a finish wasn't out of the ordinary. I thought she would have knocked her out, not a rear naked choke in the 1st round.
Yeah, she's all over Andrade right now.
Oh, she's going to choke her.
That's sunk in there. Yep. Andrade.
Tip my hat to Jasmine Jasudavicius. She looked great. That's all I got to say about this fight. I mean, we are 5-1. We're 5-1 going into the last fight on the prelims. Boy, did I have this one wrong. I admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong on this fight. I was really high on Charles Radtke's stock. I'm not even going to say that he didn't look good. It looked like he had a game plan and he tried sticking to it and he was trying. But Mike Malott, fighting out of the southpaw, he was able to shut down Charles from advancing, that's how Charles likes to fight. He'll get in your face. His fights either end in him getting knocked out or him knocking you out. And Mike Malott was using this oblique kick, kicking the front foot of Radtke's orthodox stance, preventing him from closing the distance. And it was the Canadian show from here on out. Malott dominating the 1st round, landing much more volume. Great oblique kicks, keeps Radtke back. 20 seconds in the 2nd round, Mike sets the roof off of that place. He cries in his interview, and then he cites a poem about defending Canada from people invading it.
And when it comes to defending this country in the octagon, know one thing, Canada, I stand on guard for thee.
Other than that, it was a really good performance. Him crying and citing poetry after the fight, that was some weak stuff, Mike. Still not a fan of him. Doesn't mean I don't want to see him do good things. I hope he has a successful career, but I think he's a little bit high on himself. Not as high as Bo Nickel is, but he got the job done in a great fashion in the 2nd round. So I tip my hat to Mike Malott. I was wrong about him. 5-2 on the prelims. We didn't do bad. We took a couple risks. Some of them paid off. Radtke didn't. Cutelaba should have won that fight. We'll move on. We're on the main card, boys, already. On the main card, Benoit Saint Denis taking on Kyle Prepolec. Everybody knew how this fight was going to end. All right, BSD was going to dominate Kyle Prepolec, but I will give Kyle his credit. He landed some hard shots himself. BSD, whenever he's on his feet, he looks like a badass Special Forces French guy, which he is. The staph infection was a little bit gross to stare at, but other than that, he leaves his guard down on his feet a lot. He did it a lot against Poirier. That's when that famous clip of him getting flatlined by Poirier was when his guard was down. Kyle Prepolec taking advantage of it, landing a few shots himself, but yeah, it was a crazy fight while it lasted. Benoit Saint Denis is a wizard on the ground. Very high fight IQ. A lot of fighters, even at this caliber of mixed martial arts, they'll get too high on the back when they're trying to take your back when you're standing up, and they'll fall forward, and usually they lose the position to the other opponent. BSD had very high fight IQ. He didn't get too high on the hips. He kept the underhook so he wouldn't lose position. When he didn't have the submission in round 1, he just prioritized holding the position and dealing damage. BSD looked really good. Prepolec had his moments. Firefights on the feet while it lasted, but BSD via arm triangle in the second round, he gets it done. BSD back in the win column. It's good for everybody. We move on. All right, to the second fight on the main card. We got this one wrong, boys. We got this one wrong. I thought Alexa Grasso would do what she does best and use her grappling, what she submitted Valentina Shevchenko with. But she had a better idea in mind, and her better idea was to strike with the obvious superior striker, Natalia Silva. If I would have known Alexa Grasso's game plan was to not really try more than one takedown attempt outside the first round, I would have went with Natalia Silva. Her kicks were amazing. Her striking was on point. She hit Grasso in the face with a couple kicks a couple different times this fight. Grasso was stale on the feet to start. All that was working for her was this double jab. She would do this double jab with her left hand. Landed the right hand a couple times later in the fight, but the first round, all we saw was the double jab, which was the theme for her the entire fight. Silva has some beautiful kicks, though. Holy moly. Spinning heel kicks, roundhouse kicks, leg kicks, head kicks, throwing them all, combination kicks, kick, spinning kick. Silva able to get crafty at range with kicks, keeping range, great boxing. It was a striking clinic for Natalia Silva. I know the striking, it looks a little bit closer than what it was, in my opinion. Natalia Silva, 30-27. That's a fine decision. I think I did give Grasso the second round, 29-28, but the judges were just a little bit weird tonight. That's all I got to say. We got that one wrong, boys. Sad day for the Mexicans, and it's been a rough year for Diego Lopez and his team, but hopefully they turn that around Mexican Independence Day later in the year in September. We move on to Jose Aldo taking on Aiemann Zahabi. This was the biggest robbery on the card. I don't know. Cutelaba was worse. And look, if it's a close fight, and you guys have heard this from me before, I'm not going to go and scream robbery every time it's a close fight that doesn't go my way, but both of these decisions that we were on the wrong side of tonight were just sketchy. Jose Aldo certainly won the first 2 rounds. Not only did he land more strikes, more volume those first 2 rounds, but his shots looked faster and harder. Jose Aldo's head movement was great. The third round was really what we need to talk about here. Jose Aldo almost finishing Zahabi in the third round, had him scrambling all over the octagon, chasing him down for a finish. He ran out of energy halfway through the third round. Zahabi taking advantage of Aldo being tired and weak. Aldo trips, falls to his back. Zahabi is in his full guard for 2.5 minutes. Survival mode. Eating elbows, eating all sorts of hard shots, splitting Aldo's head open. He took a lot of damage in that third round. I thought Aldo had won 29-28 the first 2. In the third round, if he would have only sat in the guard for a minute, maybe Aldo would have even taken that third round. But half the round on his full guard, on his back, in full guard, just eating ground and pound shots from Zahabi. It was hard to watch, but taking his in out for this one, boys. The judges, Mike Bell and friends, took Jose Aldo from us, okay? Jose Aldo said he was going through some adversity. Outside of the weight cut, there were some personal things going on in his life in that fight camp, and he was thinking it was going to be the end of his career pending how the outcome of this fight went. And the judges took this from Aldo. They took Aldo from us. And Jose Aldo retired. What a career. He's a goddamn legend. I thought he had beat Zahabi, but still the performance Zahabi, the resiliency he put on, especially in that third round, you got to respect it, but this was a bad decision. 29-28, Jose Aldo had the first 2 rounds. You heard it here first. I'm going to try to have this video up before anybody else. But before we move on to the co-main event, please, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel, leave me a like. It helps me a lot. It really does. Just pressing that like button once, it really goes light years for me. I'm staying up. This video probably won't get uploaded till after 2 a.m., but I'm doing it for you guys. We move on to the co-main event. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. This was a great fight. I don't know why ESPN says round 4, 402 here. The fight ended in a decision. The judges gave it to Valentina. I believe they... Why aren't the... Let me refresh this real quick. The judges gave it Valentina... Okay, this is... ESPN's behind. The judges gave Valentina 48-47, I believe. 2 judges and 1 judge gave it 49-46. No, I'm thinking of Della Maddalena. All 3 judges gave Valentina 48-47, the unanimous decision victory over Manon Fiorot. That was the right decision. I would even say Valentina won 4 rounds, but let's not push it. She looked fresher. She looked great on her feet. She gave Manon problems on her feet. I thought we would see grappling being initiated more from Shevchenko. Instead, Manon's nose gets busted early in the first round, and it was a problem that entire fight. I don't think she could breathe out of her nose after the second round. Valentina Shevchenko just landing a lot of strikes. She looked really good, defending most of the takedown attempts from Fiorot, but she was just trying to take Shevchenko down nonstop this fight after her nose gets busted. Valentina, she did what Valentina does. I told you guys she was the dark horse of this card. At least I was all over TikTok and X. I'm not sure if how much in depth my video covered, but Valentina Shevchenko was the underdog of the card. I knew she was going to win that fight. I thought Radtke would win too, but gun to my head, I would have put Valentino on that, and she paid. She paid great. So if you followed Valentina, if you bet on that underdog, you may not ever see her at that price again in her active career as champion. Great win for Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, it was a great performance by her. Great decision. We move on to the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Belal, remember the name, but you could forget it because he's not champion anymore. He took on Della Maddalena. Della Maddalena put on a boxing clinic on Belal Muhammad. I wish the totals would show here. ESPN site's a little bit off, but I'm getting this video done so fast. ESPN doesn't even have their numbers up. Check that shit out. Belal Muhammad said he wouldn't wrestle. He shot a takedown attempt round 1 with 1:30 left. Shot another takedown attempt round 2. Didn't have a lot of success. Jack wasn't having that shit. In the situations where Belal kind of got him down into a scramble position, which was only 2 times, off the top of my head, that entire fight, 25 minutes, 2 times, Craig Jones' jiu-jitsu system wins. Craig Jones beat Belal Muhammad, is what we saw. Della Maddalena on an 18-fight win streak, getting it done against Belal. Remember the name, Muhammad. The official decision from 2 judges was 48-47. 1 judge had the correct score, 49-46. He beat Belal at his own game, the decision game, and he made it good. He made it entertaining. Della Maddalena is the new UFC welterweight champion of the world. We are going to see his very first title defense later this year against no other than the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, Islam Makhachev. That is going to be an amazing fight. Islam has said he's not vacating the lightweight belt, which means he's going to come back down after he fights Jack, which means if Ilia Topuria takes care of Charles Oliveira at International Fight Week, which, God forbid, I'm an Oliveira fan, but if he does do it, there's a win-win either way. We're going to either get Oliveira versus Islam in the rematch, the guy who gave Islam his lightweight strap, getting it back potentially, or a super fight, Ilia Topuria taking on Islam Makhachev later this year. It was an amazing fight card, guys. Nothing else I really want to say this fight, except for Belal Muhammad did not have Canelo hands. He did not take Della Maddalena's soul. He didn't show Jack's his hands were Canelo's. He shot takedowns. So he didn't do the things that he said he was going to do, and he did the thing that he said he wasn't going to do. Belal, remember the liar's name, Muhammad, gets humbled by Della Maddalena. It feels so good to say that. Goodness gracious. Let's get into this bingo card, and we'll wrap this up, fellers. This was the bingo card going into this week. We didn't have anything hit last week. As you can see, there's plenty of options here left. There was an out-of-pocket comment John Anik almost made, but he didn't quite deliver on it, so that did not check. But what did check was there were 2 illegal knees thrown tonight, and I forgot. I know Belal threw an illegal knee, Manon Fiorot threw an illegal knee at Valentina Shevchenko when she was down, but luckily Valentina blocked it, God forbid, in the second round. So, because of that knee thrown on Valentina Shevchenko, that checks our box here at the bottom. Illegal knee on a downed opponent. This bingo card is filling out too fast. It's only May 11th, and half the spaces on this card are filling out. So if you're following the bingo card and you're gonna complete the bingo card, tag me on X. First winner gets $100. Jack Della Maddalena now the champion. It changes the short-term future for the UFC. We're gonna get the Ilya Islam fight, super fight later down the road, but this is better for the meantime. This is better for everybody. This is better for the fans. This was fun to watch. 315 delivered a little bit more than I thought it would. It was a lot better card than I thought. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars officially for 315. The bad judging held us back a little bit. Some bad decisions. But other than that, very entertaining card. The prelims were fun. The main card delivered. Bingo card hit. I will see you guys in a few days when I break down the fight night. Coming to the Apex. Very exciting, very loved Apex. This was The Fight Guy, episode 32. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you then.